A gentle Christmas story the internet fell in love with. FREENBECKY. When Christmas makes people notice what they've been feeling all along. Christmas has a strange emotional power. It doesn't create feelings out of nowhere. It reveals them. Things people have been subconsciously sensing all year suddenly become clear under Christmas lights. Longings surface. Truths feel heavier. Comfort becomes more valuable than excitement. For many fans, FREENBECKY was not a sudden Christmas discovery. It was something they had already been noticing, quietly, gradually, that finally made sense during the holiday season. Christmas didn't invent the connection. It magnified it. The difference between festive content and festive feeling. Every year, celebrities post holiday content. Matching outfits, decorated rooms, carefully staged warmth. But fans are increasingly sensitive to the difference between something that looks festive and something that feels meaningful. FREENBECKY's presence during Christmas didn't feel constructed. There was no visible effort to sell a holiday image. No forced cheer. No exaggerated affection. Instead there was familiarity, a shared emotional space. And fans responded not with excitement, but with relief. Why gentleness felt so rare and so necessary. The world has not been gentle in recent years. For many people, Christmas comes after long periods of emotional exhaustion, uncertainty, pressure to perform happiness. That's why gentleness stood out so strongly. FREENBECKY didn't ask fans to be excited. They allowed fans to rest emotionally. Watching them didn't feel like consumption. Felt like sitting quietly near something warm. The unseen labor of emotional safety. Emotional safety is invisible work. It doesn't announce itself. Doesn't sparkle. It doesn't trend easily. But people can feel it immediately. Fans noticed how. And neither Freen nor Becky appeared anxious around the other. And mistakes were met with softness, not embarrassment. And moments of silence were allowed to exist. Attention was shared, not competed for. This is the kind of safety people crave most during the holidays, when emotional vulnerability is heightened. Christmas and the longing for forever. Christmas is a season of continuity. It is about traditions repeated year after year. People who remain. Bonds that survive time. That's why fans instinctively connected FREENBECKY with the idea of permanence. Not permanence as ownership, but permanence as reliability. They felt like people who would still choose each other when the season ended. Why fans stopped asking questions. Something interesting happened during this Christmas period. Fans stopped demanding answers. Normally, celebrity culture thrives on, are they dating? Is it real? When will they confirm? But with FREENBECKY, those questions softened. People began saying, whatever this is, it feels enough. I don't need to know more. This already makes sense. That shift is rare. It happens only when the emotional picture feels complete on its own. A Christmas story rooted in mutual respect. At the heart of this gentle Christmas story is respect. Not admiration. Not obsession. Not dependency. Respect. Fans saw how Freen allowed Becky autonomy. How Becky trusted Freen's presence. How neither tried to define the other. How space and closeness coexisted naturally. Respect is the quiet backbone of lasting love. And during Christmas, a time when people evaluate what truly matters, that respect shone brightly. Why this mattered so much to queer fans at Christmas. For queer fans especially, Christmas often highlights what is missing. Missing acceptance. Missing safety. Missing permission to love openly. Seeing two women share a gentle, unforced connection in public space, especially during a season so heavily tied to family and tradition, felt deeply affirming. It said without words, there is room for you here. That message alone made the story powerful. The softness that defied internet culture. Internet culture rewards intensity, drama, conflict, extremes. FREENBECKY offered none of that. and yet they held attention. That contradiction is important. It proved that people are starving not for chaos, but for calm authenticity, especially during Christmas. Why this story felt timeless. Trends fade quickly, but Christmas stories rooted in emotional truth endure. This one didn't rely on fashion, aesthetics, viral moments. It relied on something older, human connection. That's why people continue to reference it long after the season ended. A Christmas without performance. Perhaps the most striking thing about this story is that it never tried to be a story. There was no climax, no reveal, no twist. Just two people existing gently alongside each other. And sometimes that is enough to change how people see love. What this Christmas taught people about relationships. For many fans, this story quietly redefined expectations. Love didn't need to feel overwhelming. It didn't need to be painful. It didn't need to be proven constantly. Could feel steady, grounding, warm, like Christmas itself is supposed to feel. Why the story still matters. Even now, when fans talk about that Christmas, they talk about how it made them feel, not what happened. That is the mark of a meaningful story. It doesn't live in memory as an event. It lives as an emotion. The quiet truth at the center of it all. FREENBECKY did not create a Christmas miracle. They reminded people of something simpler. That love, when real, often looks ordinary. And that ordinary, when honest, can be extraordinary. Closing. A Christmas the internet didn't want to let go of. The internet fell in love with this Christmas story not because it promised forever, but because it felt like peace. And in a world that rarely slows down, that peace felt like the greatest gift of all.